Hi guys, this is Donna from Donna's Creative Space. This is my virtual card class called Taco Fiesta. This is a very cute stamp set, and today I'm going to show you how to make these 4 cards and using this stamp set, Taco Fiesta. It was designed by Erica Serwin, and I got my stamp set directly from her because I wanted her to sign it, and it's kind of nice. So she reached 1 million in sales, and Stampin' Up lets you design a card, a stamp set. So anyway, these are the cards. Spectacular. Long time no taco. Holy guacamole, it's your birthday, and you spice up my life. Now, I must tell you that I recorded this video yesterday live on YouTube, and the sound was absolutely horrible. I don't know what happened, but there was screeching going on and you couldn't even hear me. So now this is my first time doing a voiceover, and I'm hoping this works. So bear with me. So right now I'm showing you, this is the card recipe file that I do for my virtual card class. I do have a couple errors in it that I'm going to update it. I do have to finish this video, and then I will put the video path in the heading of this file right under the title. And this isn't directions on how to put these cards together. They're just cutting measurements and the supplies that you need. So I will be supplying the card kit if you place an order with me. Now, you definitely need your own stamp set. You need Memento ink. And you can shop with me between the February 16th and the 28th, so there's only a couple more days left. Use my host code V2A73P3X. Now, if you spend $35 or more before tax and shipping, you will get the kit, what I call a make and take, for these 4 cards. You'll get the envelopes. You can go to my website, donnascreativespace.com. That's my blog, and shortly after this video is uploaded and I've updated this file, I will put it there for a download. I'll put a blog post so you can download this. Like I said, I have to update the path once I get the new path for the video. And this is basically just showing you that it tells you the sizes that you need to cut, and I am updating this. I did find a few errors, just because, you know, it happens. But anyway, so you can go ahead. I'll be emailing this out along with the video link to my email list. So if you're not on my email list, go to donnascreativespace.com, and there's a button on donnascreativespace.com where you can click on it and send me your email address. And I will send, if you place your order with me for $35 or more in product, you will get the kit to make all these cards. Now, I'm pointing out I'll give you extra paper to stamp images that have to be stamped, colored, and then cut out. I cannot stamp images for you. You need your own stamp set and your own ink, and obviously your own Stampin' Blends. You can use your Stampin' Right markers or any other markers or colored pencils, whatever you want to use. But I will supply you with the paper so that you can stamp these images and cut them out. There's no dies. I will be giving you any of the die cut shapes, like that scalloped rectangle, the stitch circle. I'll be supplying you with the ribbon and the twine. I've even tied your bows when needed. There is one white bow. It's used with crinkle ribbon that will be coloring it with one of the Stampin' Blends, but you can leave it white if you want to. So don't forget that you can always get this card recipe once it's loaded to my blog. What else? Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go through the Stampin' Blend colors that you need. Most of them I've used the light version because the Stampin' Blends come in a combo pack. And like I said, bear with me because I'm not really sure what I'm saying in the video. I've wiped out the volume. So I'm going to show you the colors now. So we're using the light and dark So Saffron and the light and dark Smoky Slate. All right, and those you buy these blends in combo pack. You can buy this this color lifter singularly, and that's great if you go out of the edge. It kind of bleaches out the color. Now I'm using the light basic black, and then the light soft suede, and then the dark Daffodil Delight, the light Granny Apple Green, the light Orchid Oasis, and the light Sweet Sorbet. So the only dark, besides the 2 combo packs, the Smoky Slate and the So Saffron, is the dark Daffodil Delight. These are the 3 twines I'm using. They're from the In Colors pack, and I'm also using the white crinkle ribbon. This white crinkle ribbon is the one I was just talking about that you'll be coloring with the Sweet Sorbet Stampin' Blend, because you can color that with any of our alcohol markers. I've used these matte black dots for my embellishment. And if your order is over $50, you will be getting a pack of these in your kit. I'm just going to put it, sometimes they come loose, so I'm just putting a little bit of adhesive right here and then putting these dots back down. So those are the embellishments that we'll be using. Now, in case you're making these on your own, I did use the Stylish Shapes dies to cut out the circles and the squares. And I also used the Scalloped Contour dies to cut out one of the, you can see it off to the left, the one with the donkey. That's the stitched scalloped rectangle that I use from the contour dies. Now, as far as, let's see, measurements go, I'm just slipping my piece of paper up ahead of me, in front of me, so that I can try to read off the measurements as I go, in case you decide you want to, you know, before the file is ready and you want to jot down measurements. So, let's see, what else do I need to tell you? Let's see. All right, so we're doing these cards, and I think we'll start with this first one. Some of the coloring I've done ahead of time because I didn't want to take too much time on here. So this first one is Spectacular, and everything will be in your envelope. Make sure you shake out your envelope, because sometimes the ribbon or the little pieces stick inside. If you don't have a piece, please let me know. If you don't have, you might happen to have the color that you can cut it yourself. But if you don't, let me know. So I'm using a bone folder to crease my card base. I've already scored them for you. So you just crease the card base. I'm pulling out my scissors. I have 2 pairs of snips. The ones with the ribbon I use for just ribbon, and the other one I use for anything I need to cut out. I've got my Take Your Pick tool, which is great to use to pick up the embellishments. Now, first things first, I am going to adhere this piece of designer series paper. This designer paper is from the Flowers and More collection. It's a host set. It's a really big pack. You can only order it when you're a host, and I'm putting this on my card base. That's the first step. There's no ribbon that has to go behind it, so you can put it right down like that. And let's see. After that, like I said, bear with me, because this is the first time I'm doing a voiceover. So I've gone ahead and, like I said, I've already stamped some of the items, just so that you don't have to watch me the whole time. Now, I'm just checking out and giving you a couple of measurements, because I think I realized that a measurement on that piece of paper was incorrect. And I realized I didn't have the Granny Apple Green that I needed. So I needed to cut a piece that was 1.5 by 4 inches. So that's what I'm doing right now. And let's see, hold on one second. I'm just shutting off my phone. I didn't realize my phone was on. Okay, so I've already done the little taco on here, and I'm going to show you how to color a taco later on this. But for now, I've done the inside of this, and you can do whatever you want on the inside. I don't know what those, the left side, whether those are soft tacos or burritos. I really don't know. I'm not very good at Mexican food. But anyway, so that's the inside. I just did the taco. Now this is your Granny Apple Green strip. The white will eventually go on there after we stamp whatever those are, burritos or soft tacos. All right, so now I've already stamped them, and I've already colored most of it. So what we're going to do now is, this is a stitched circle. I did use these Stylish Shape dies for it. And this is again, this is a white square, which is, you can't really see the stitching because the angle is too far away. The camera's too far away, but they're kind of pierced and stitched. So I pulled out my pierce mat because when you're stamping with photopolymer stamps, there's no cushion. So you should have a little bit of cushion behind you. So I've already done the one on the taco on the inside. So now I'm going to do the taco on the little square here. And I'm using black Memento ink. And make sure I get all my pieces out of the way. And I'm just trying to straighten things out. Like I said, this is the first time doing a voiceover. This isn't easy. And this video is, gosh, an hour and 20 minutes. So, and I think we're only in about 11. So this will be interesting if I can keep this up. Anyway, because it's different when you're actually, making the cards. You just talk as you go. Now I'm trying to talk about what I see on the screen. All right, so I've zoomed in, and hopefully I remember to zoom out, and I try really hard to stay in the view area, but sometimes, I just pull it down towards myself. So I've stamped the taco towards the top of this square, leaving the bottom because we're going to put the sentiment in that area. All right, and now on the next piece, we have this long strip of white, which is, let me see if I can grab the white. It is 1.5. Nope, it is not. It's 1 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to stamp this soft taco, burrito, whatever. I'm going to stamp 3 of them. First one's the full amount, and the other 2 are kind of off the piece of paper. That's why I put a piece of scrap paper behind me. All right, so now I'm going to just let myself, let you see what I'm doing right here, because I'll pull aside something, the one I have done shortly to show you. So I've got those 2 pieces, and that's all stamped. Now, like I said, I have colored some of the items for this class ahead of time because I don't want you guys to have to watch me color, but I will be coloring so that you can see how I did it. And I didn't blend on everything. There are only a few things I blended on. Pardon my reach. I don't know what I'm reaching for, but I'm not sure. But all right, so Donna, let's get back to coloring. I don't know. Oh, you know what? I think I was realizing I didn't have a piece of paper now. I'm not sure, but I know that I need to cut a piece of So Saffron, I think, for this one, because it was missing. Oh, yep, here I go. Here's with the So Saffron. I realized I didn't have the 1/2 inch by 2 3/4 inch, so that's what I'm doing right now. It's a little, I'm cutting out of the image area a little bit, that first cut, but you really didn't need to see this. Normally I would have cut this ahead of time, but I missed a couple of pieces. So I've got my So Saffron. So now I want to stamp my sentiment, which this is so cute because it says Spectacular. I love these little cute sayings and sentiments when they do a fun, oops, that's a little bit of an angle. I think I'm going to do it again. I'm pretty sure I did it again when I realized it was an angle. Now I think I'm showing you the inside, how cute he is, but I don't know, maybe I didn't do it again. Maybe that was a different one. Okay, so here I'm showing you how I've already colored a few. All right, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you how I colored this burrito / soft taco. I used So Saffron Light and Dark, and then I also used the Granny Apple Green Light and the Sweet Sorbet Light. All right, and I did a little bit of blending on the taco, so right here I'm going to put down a little bit of the dark So Saffron, and you can do, sometimes I do the light first and then I put the dark on, but right here, and it all depends on what I pick up first. So I put the dark down, and now I'm going over with the So Saffron. And again, I have a piece of scrap paper behind because it can bleed through because these are alcohol markers. So I go ahead and I got the burrito done. Now sometimes you don't want to go right up against things, so be careful when you do a color up against a color, because you don't always want, if it's still a little damp, they could run. So I try to stay within the black lines and try not to go over too much. So I'm using the pointed end, the ball, well, I guess it's like a ball point or felt tip end, not the brush end, to do these. It's a little bit, you have more control because it's a finer point, more like a marker rather than a brush. So now I've done that, and I'm just touching up above a little on this. And so that's all done. So now we're going to color our taco. And I'm not sure what I'm saying about the Stampin' Pierce mat, but I removed my scrap paper. I don't know why. Oops, my marker opened up. But here I'm putting a little bit of dark again down on the taco. So this is the So Saffron dark. And now I'm going to go in with the So Saffron light and kind of blend that so I don't have that line between the two colors. That's what I like about the alcohol markers. Now I should have scrap paper underneath here because it's much better for you not to let anything bleed through on top of what either your work surface or like this mat. But I think it's okay. So I'm just showing you the little bit of a blending here. And then I'm going to color the lettuce and the tomatoes, which I assume that's what this is sticking out. So the lettuce, I'm going to go every other little thing that's sticking out. So this is the light granny apple green that I am coloring in every other item. And then I will go with the light sweet sorbet and color what I think are tomatoes. And like I said, I'm pointing to this point that I'm using the finer point, the felt tip. It's more like a marker point rather than the brush point. I'll use the brush point like I did on the tacos because it's a bigger area. All right, so I didn't stamp the face on this little guy until after I colored because I didn't want to, sometimes, even though we use Memento ink for our Stampin' Blends, sometimes it can blur. Now there's all these little faces on this stamp set. There's 5 of them, so you can do, there's the winky one, there's the sleeping one, the one with the mustache, and I'm just doing the regular one. I just think it's so cute to add a little personality to the taco. And then we're done with that. So I am going to, I believe I'm going to pull out. Oh, I zoomed back out, and now I'm going to start assembling. So now this is the piece that I showed you how I stamped them. So I didn't want to waste too much time coloring. So this piece here is going to get mounted on the Granny Apple Green strip. So I'm going to put the seal adhesive on the back of the stamped image, and then I'm going to mount it on the Granny Apple Green. So I think right about here I'm talking about how my seal is almost running out, but luckily I unpacked some of my boxes from my last crop and I do have a spare handy. So now that's mounted. So now this is going to go on the card itself, and I'm going to leave about a 1/4 inch to the left of the about a 1/4 inch of the Designer Series paper showing, and just put that right down like that. I think this is such a cute way to make it. We kind of made our own little designer paper with those soft burritos, no, soft tacos / burritos, whatever those are. Now I'm taking this Granny Apple Green stitch circle, and to make sure you're putting your adhesive on the right side. You can use the liquid glue for this. And I'm just going to center this right here. So this part is going down flat. Now my taco itself is going to go, I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. Oh, I forgot that I wanted to add a little bit of smoky slate down underneath this taco. So it looks like it's not floating in the air. It gives him like a little base that he's sitting on, right? So now I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this. And I'm putting one in each corner, and then I will put one in the center, so we don't have any sagging in the center. You can get away with just the corners if you don't have a lot of dimensionals, but I happen to have plenty, and I know somebody who sells them. So anyway, so I've put this at an angle because I just think it adds a little bit more fun. You can put it straight if you want, but I just thought putting it at an angle adds a little more interest to your card. Now I'm going to take the sentiment and I'm going to trim the two ends at an angle. Now, if you have a hard time cutting the same angle on the other side, take that piece that you just cut off and put it in the right, the right amount of space away from your text, and lay it there and hold it for, with your other hand and cut right along that edge, and you'll get the exact same angle. So I think that's a cool idea. Sometimes I don't really care. I try to make a match and I just wing it. Now, but that's a good way if you have trouble doing that, if you have trouble matching your angles, and if it matters to you. Some people don't care whether they are off a little bit or not. So I'm putting 3 dimensionals along this because it's, even though it's only a couple inches long, I think it's just under 3 inches, but I want it to not sag in the middle. So I'm just putting this down. I'm putting this straight across so the sentiment will read nice and straight. All right. And I've got to hold it up towards me. It's hard to do, put things together when it's kind of at an angle in front of me. So sometimes I have to hold it up. Now I've gone ahead and I've tied your bows already for you. So I am looking to see, oh, I forgot. I want to tell you that, so I listed Wink Estella on the instructions. Now, if you have to get your, this is a glitter brush. It's got a little bit of glitter solution. If you have to get more solution out of your tube, do not squeeze it over your project. Squeeze it on that spare piece of paper, that little scrap paper that I just showed you. And I try to stay off the black lines, off the memento lines, because I just think that sometimes the solution can make it blur. It doesn't always happen, but now I don't know if I'm holding up to the camera, but I don't know if you can see the sparkle. Now you can let it dry and go back in again and add more, or to get it to the sparkleness, if that's a word, that you would like. All right, so let me see. So next we have to put on the embellishments. Now I am using the matte black dots. Like I said earlier, if your order was $50 or more, I'm actually including a package of black dots for you. And these are really nice black dots. There's 2 sizes on them. And I believe I'm using the small. And I'm using my Take Your Pick tool that has the putty on the end. And when it gets crappy, you just pull off the putty and you'll have some fresh putty. I'm putting a couple in the right corner, and then I'm showing you the Take Your Pick tool because this is a really great tool to have. It's only like $10. You've got this putty side, which you also get a spare, comes with it. So you get the putty that's installed, and then you get one loose one. And then this other end that has a second piece that comes with it, which is a stylus. So you can score with it. There's a big end and a small end. I don't use that as much as the pointer. I leave my pointy end in it because the pointer is a pointer on one side. I didn't show you, but the other end is like a little spatula. So it helps if you have to pull paper apart, or you can use it for, positioning your embellishments. So I'm going to take a glue dot, and because we're using twine, the bow is made out of twine, it's very thin. I like to cut my glue dot in half. So I pull a piece of off the roll, and I can cut right on the paper. And half the time, the half a glue dot sticks to the scissors. So I just took it off with my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm putting it on the back of my bow. And I think if I remember this one, was it this one? I think this little piece, I can't remember if this was the one that gave me trouble or not, but I know one glue dot did. So I guess it wasn't this one, because this one seems to be working fine. Okay, so this is the first card. I'm going to use my ribbon scissors to just trim off the ends of my twine. So your bow is already all made for you. And there's the inside. I just did the same thing on the inside like we did on the little square. So that is card 1 all done. Woohoo! All right, so I'm putting that little half a glue dot aside because I'll probably use it on another one. So now the next card we're doing is this Holy Guacamole, It's Your Birthday. I really like this one. This background paper just, I don't know, it screams Fiesta to me because it's so bright and colorful. And I wanted to pull out the little blue flowers that are in the designer paper. So I'm using this Orchid Oasis. And I'm going to show you how I stamped this donkey. But I've already colored him in. So I'm just going to do a little bit for you. I'm going to show you. I'm pulling out my Stampin' Pierce mat so that I have a cushion underneath. And I'm going to stamp the donkey. He is a really cute. I love the stamp set because it's a nice, crisp, clean image. Like a nice, crisp, clean line drawing. So now I've gone ahead and I use the smoky slate dark and light to color the donkey in. And even though I colored his ears, his nose, and the tail in the light basic black. And I colored the little tassels on this, I don't know what you call that side. It's not a saddle, but a blanket. So I went Daffodil Delight, dark. And then I did Orchid Oasis Light, then Daffodil Delight again, and then I did the Sweet Sorbet, and then the Granny Apple Green in a little small spot. And around his neck I did the little beads in the Daffodil Dark also. Now, I'm not going to show you, I don't think I'm going to show you how I colored this because you know, it's kind of obvious how you color things, but now I'm stamping the nachos, which are so cute. And I believe on the inside of this card, I'm trying to, I'm going to do, okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to stamp this little bowl. This is the guacamole bowl. So I'm going to stamp it right on this scalloped. And I'm leaving about 3/4 to an inch on the left side, just so I have room for my tacos. So I'm putting that down there and I'm going to, let's see. I think that I did the inside already. I can't remember. Maybe I didn't. But I'm going to, I'm not sure. Like I said, bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, so I'm stamping, what am I stamping? Oh, the little hat. I forgot. Yes, I have to color a hat. And so the inside I did the nachos and I did the Your Nacho Average Friend. All right. So let's see. All right, I'm going to stamp I'm doing the inside of the card now. And I'm just putting the nachos down there. And then I'm going to put the sentiment right in the center. Your Nacho Average Friend. All right, right in the center. And this is such a cute set. I at first didn't think I needed it. But then when I started playing around with it, I'm so glad I got it. And I thought this would be the perfect virtual card class. So I am going to color a few of these for you. My horse now is already colored, so I'm just showing you how I'm cutting it out. And when I do cut this out, I leave a little bit of white space. Now it's hard to see because I have to turn it towards myself so that I can see what I'm cutting. I'm not going to cut in between his ears because his hat's going to go there, so I'm going to go straight across the top of the ears and not bother. And if you're not putting the hat on, cut it out in between the ears. So I'm going right around the nose. And if you have a big chunk of paper, just cut it completely off, like I just did. And now under the neck and around the leg. And you can see that I'm leaving like a tiny bit of white. And the reason for this is that once you put this on your paper, the person that's looking at this, their eyes are going to just draw automatically to the line art rather than the white. All right, so it's just how it is, and I like leaving the white. I think it gives it a nice shape, and if you try to cut on the black too close, you just end up messing up your image. So I'm going up right underneath the tail and I'm cutting this trim off. You could go straight across if you want and not cut that off, but I'm cutting it off and I'm gonna clean it up a little. It is hard to get into like a little point like that, but just try your best. And then I just kind of go straight across the bottom with a little zigzag just at the bottom so that the tail looks like it's been cut out separately. All right, so now we have to do some more coloring. Let me get rid of all those pieces. So I believe I'm going to do the, let's see, what am I going to do first? All right, I'm going to do the sombrero. And the sombrero, the bottom of the sombrero, I use the light Sweet Sorbet. Now when I color these images that were stamped with Memento, like I said earlier, I try not to go, sometimes I forget, but I try not to go right up against a color that I just did, because I want to give it time to dry. So I'm going to start coloring the top of the hat rather than the row right above the Sweet Sorbet. So I'm coloring the top of the hat in the light Orchid Oasis. This is such a pretty blue. I really like it. And then I'm going to, I just zoomed in. I figured I probably should have zoomed in to show you how I was coloring. But I'm going to, let's see, what am I going to do next, Donna? Sorry about this. This voiceover stuff is hard to do. All right, I'm coloring my nachos. So I'm putting a little bit of, let's see, I'm putting a little bit of light on here. I'm going light first. I think I was saying that my So Saffron markers are starting to dry out. I've been using them so much. So I use the tip end. And then I'm going to go in and add a little bit of the darker So Saffron and just give it a little bit of shading. They're very cute little nachos. All right, and so now I'm going to do, this is the inside, so I'm going to start with a little bit of dark here. See, you can do either way. Start with the dark or start with the light. And now I'm just going to go over this and have my inside all done. I like to sometimes put a little bit of whatever image is on the front of the card on the inside. I think it just kind of adds to it. It's kind of cute. And since this inside sentiment says nacho, I thought the nacho chips would be good on there. All right, now when you close your markers, make sure you hear the snap. I think that's what I was just trying to show you. All right, so I'm now taking the dark Daffodil Delight and going in between the hat top and the hat brim. That way they both were dry, and so nothing will run. So now I'm going to cut this out. So I'm going to cut off most of the big image area, and I'm going to go in. That was just cutting off the big area of white to make it easier to handle. And now I'm cutting around this little hat. And again, leaving the white trim and cutting off big areas of the white to make it easier to handle. And just go in. This isn't hard to cut out. We call this fussy cutting. It's not hard to cut out, but sometimes these little pieces are a little harder than normal, but just go slow and steady and you'll get it. And now I have a little bit of extra white here that I'm just going to trim off on this one. I think this is so cute. And wait till I put that hat on the donkey. It comes out really cute. Now these nachos for the front of the card, I am cutting them apart. I'm cutting the two nachos that are joined together. I'm going to cut those as one piece. I'm not separating them. And then the other nacho will get cut out alone. So I'm just leaving a little bit of white all the way around. And for the most part, you're moving the paper rather than your scissors. So, I do move my scissors a little bit, but for the most part, you're keeping the scissors in one spot, and then you're kind of rotating your paper. All right, now I'm just going to cut out the single nacho, and you'll see how I put it separate like that. I just put the little... It's just really cute to have them separate like this. And I'm not sure what I was telling you there, but maybe I'm just showing you the card. Oh my goodness. This is more difficult than you probably think to do this voiceover, because I'm doing this, like I said, for over an hour. Let's see where we're at. We're at like about 35 minutes right now. So I'm going to keep talking and try to finish this video. I've got my nachos cut out. Now I'm going to color my bowl of guacamole. And I'm going to use the smoky slate, light and dark. And I'm going to put a little bit of dark on here. And I'm just going to do a little bit on the side like this. And maybe put a little bit on each of the legs. Right, and then I'm going to take the light and I'm going to go right over that and blend that edge. That's the nice thing, like I said, about the alcohol markers. I just realized I should put my scrap paper underneath. And now I'm just going to finish this little guacamole bowl and kind of go over the dark to make sure that I'm blending that. And sometimes you just have to wait a couple of seconds and you'll just see that the lines disappear. Now I'm putting a little bit of the light smoky slate underneath because I want it to be like it's like I did with the taco on the first card. We just want to ground it. I'm using the light granny apple green. I'm switching over to the small head. I started with the large and realized that this is a small area. I want to use the bullet point on my marker. So this is my guacamole using light granny apple green. All right, so I'm going to add his little hat. So I'm going to pull out my silicone mat, which is great to use if you have, if you're working with liquid glue. Now I pulled out this bottle and I think if I remember correctly, nothing was coming out. I don't know whether it dried up or not, but I had it in, I don't know if I had closed it after I used it. So now I grabbed another bottle. Oh, maybe not. Now I grabbed another bottle. There I go. I knew I grabbed another bottle. So I put a little teeny dab of glue on there. And I'm showing you my holder here. I leave the cap in there and I just put the new bottle, line it right up. But you got to remember to close it when you're done with it. So mine dried out a little bit, but I think it's also near the end of the bottle. So now I'm putting the little hat on, and oh my gosh, it just makes him so happy. And so see the little bit of glue on this mat? That's okay because it just rubs off afterwards. That's why these silicone mats are great. All right, so now I'm going to use a tiny dot of glue to put this little nacho kind of sticking out of the guacamole. I think it's adorable. And I tried all the nachos on mini dimensionals. I just didn't like it. They looked funny up, being raised. So I've just decided to use the glue. And just a little bit of liquid glue goes a long way, so don't use too much. And now I'm putting these nachos off to the side like they're laying on the table. And let's see. Now I think that what I'm going to do is put my string on next, I believe. Did I do that? What did I do next? All right, so I'm taking this off, getting rid of the silicone mat and the pierce mat, and I'm going to put the card together. So I'm going to fold the card on the crease line and use my bone folder to crease it. And like I said, I already did the inside. Here I'm just using the liquid glue. You can use your seal, your liquid glue, whichever. I know I'm out of the image a little bit. I think I'm still zoomed in maybe. But so I'm putting my inside on. And now for the outside, let's see. The outside I am going to, oh, I forgot. I was about to put this down. Then I remembered, oh yeah, wait, I got to put my designer paper down. So I have to put these strings on, and I'm going to show you how I put the string on, because it looks like I just used a big piece of twine and wrapped it around twice and then tied a bow. Nope, I tricked you. This is a great way to make it A, easier on yourself, and B, use less twine. So I'm putting a little bit of adhesive on the back, on the two sides, and I'm taking one piece of twine, and these are about maybe 5 inches or so, and I'm tacking it down in the back and hitting that adhesive. Right? See how it's tacked down now? And then I'm going to take the other piece of twine and do the same thing in that same, I've kind of like put them right inside in between two scallops, and go across and tack them down in the back. Now, if you want, you could take a little bit of Scotch tape and put it on the back just to kind of hold that down. All right, now I started to go with my runner, and then I realized, wait, nope, this is going up on dimensionals. So I am going to take the dimensionals and I'm going to put them on the back, and I'm using, don't throw away when you're down to this frame of your dimensionals, just cut them apart and use them because they're still good. And I'm just going to use up what I have and put these dimensionals on the back. I think I use 6. Yep, I use 6. So I'm taking these off now and just removing the backing, and Let's see. What am I doing? I might be checking something. I don't know. Who knows what I'm doing? It's I'm just cracking up. This is harder than I expected to do a voiceover. I've never done it before, and I had to download a special software and delete the screeching noise on the original video, and then, you know, download it here, and then gosh, I'm trying this, like I said, this new software to voiceover, which is interesting to say the least. All right, so I'm adding my designer series paper. If I didn't say so, this was the Flowers and More. I thought this was really nice and festive. Now my scalloped rectangle is going on top of that. That's up on the dimensionals. And then we're going to take, I just think this is so cute. I forgot to stamp our sentiment, so I am going to stamp the sentiment because I want to put the sentiment on before I place the donkey. And that way I know where I can put my donkey. So I stamp the Holy Guacamole, it's your birthday, and we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of that. And I'm just smoothing out the edges. If you ever get the edges from your cutter kind of stick up in the air, you can use your bone folder or the back of your nail to press them down. So now a couple of dimensionals on the back of this, and I'm kind of doing the top and bottom because I want the twine. I don't want it to land on the twine because sometimes it makes your little sentiment rock. So I'm kind of leaving space for the twine to go right up in between those dimensionals. You'll see what I mean as I put it on the card. And that way your sentiment doesn't like kind of rock because it's higher when you put it on the twine. So this way the twine fits right in between. So I'm just putting that down. I'm leaving a little bit of room on the left side because that's where the bow is going. And now I'm going to put the donkey is going to go off to the right. So I'm just going to put one dimensional kind of that so it hits the hat and the head at the same time. That way I'm also making sure the hat stays on. And I'm going to take a tiny little bit, since I have some of these skinny pieces of dimensional, I'm going to put a little strip on the tail so that stays supported, and peel off the backing of these. And then this is going on the card. I'm going to put them at an angle, and I purposely put the sentiment on first so that I can figure out where I want my donkey, because I want most of his body on the card. I'm zooming out now so that you can see the whole card. And this way the tail is off, but most of the donkey's body is on the card, on the scalloped shape, I should say. I think this is absolutely adorable. And I am going to do a little bit of glitter. I did the hat and I did the blanket, and I'm kind of dabbing it. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm dabbing it, and I need a little bit more of my, so I squeezed it on a piece of scrap paper, and I'm dabbing it rather than brushing it because I don't want my colors to mix, because every once in a while you can have a little issue. And then I wipe it off on a piece of scrap paper just so I don't get too much color. It doesn't happen that much with the alcohol markers, but if you had stamped using, now I've gone and zoomed in, so I'm showing you how I'm dabbing it rather than brushing. And that way the glitter solution comes out, but it doesn't smear the ink. So now I'm going to do the nacho chips and the guacamole. I don't believe I did the bowl. So, yep, I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't see that. It never comes out good, but trust me, if you need to buy a Wink of Stella, I think they're like maybe $8, $8.25, and you can buy them in my DonnaSingleton.StampinUp.net store. That and the Take Your Pick tool are great things to have. All right, so now we are going to take that half of glue dot that I had left over, and I'm going to pull that off and put that on the back of my bow. And I know on one of these bows my glue dot wasn't behaving, but I'm not sure if it was this one. I think it maybe, yeah, see, it stuck on my finger, but then I think it got too, then it wasn't sticky anymore, so I think I had to go get another glue dot if I remember. I can't remember now. Let's see. because now, yep, I decided to throw it away because I was touching it too much, and then you get rid of all the stickiness. So I'm going to take another, and I'm just going to roll it now, because you can roll it into a ball, and then I'm going to put my bow right on it, and I'm going to use my pokey tool, the take your pick tool, the pokey end. I think it's called a stylus, but I'm not sure, or pointer, or piercer, I don't know. I call it my poker or whatever. And I just squished the glue dots so it wasn't showing. And now I'm just trimming the ends of my twine because they kind of frayed a little bit. And card number 2 is done. Oh, no, it's not. I have to remember, and I think I put it aside, and then I remembered that I had to do the black dots, but I don't know if I did it right away. I think I start the next card. So I'm just trying to get rid of some of the little pieces and get rid of my silicone mat, and I'm going to pull out, I believe I'm going to pull out the next card. Yep, now we're going to do the long time no taco. I thought this was cute. And at some point I'm going to pull back in that other card because I forgot to put on the black matte dots. So I'm going to show you how I stamped all these images because I'm going to cut these out. This one I'm going to show you how I colored and cut these because it doesn't take that long. And I did do the inside, and I think I put a taco on the inside, kind of like the other card, but this is a vertical one, so make sure when you do that. So now I'm just using this piece of scrap paper, scrap basic white, to stamp all these images. And so we've got the taco, we've got the avocado, and now we have the pepper. I just love to color. I don't know about you guys, but I think right here I'm trying to remember what I did with the inside piece because I'm pretty sure that, yep, there it is. I did do the taco on the inside. I didn't do a face on this one. I left it plain. And so these are all my pieces, and I think that I thought that I might have been misplacing something, but I think I'm good. So now I'm going to show you how to color. And let's see. Oh, I have to stamp the sentiment. So I'm going to grab the let's see, the one, this one was called Long Time No Taco. And I think maybe this is the one that was at an angle. Yeah, I think this was the one at an angle. I turned it over and stamped it straight again. There's always 2 sides to the paper, so you can always have a second chance if you mess up. All right, so I've got my sentiment done. Now I am going to start coloring. So I'm going to pull out my So Saffron again. I'm going to put some dark. Now I've already showed you this, so I'm going to try to go quickly. You want to take your time doing this because you don't want to mess things up. And I'm zooming in so you can see me coloring better. And now I put the dark So Saffron down, and now I'm going to go over it with the light and kind of blend that in. And I'm going right around the edge. I don't want any white space. You go over the edge of the darker shade so that you don't have that line, and it kind of blends them. And I think I realized that I should have the scrap paper, so now I grabbed a piece of scrap paper. And now I'm going to do the green. Yep, see, it leaks out a little bit. I'm going to do the lettuce on my taco. Now we're doing this just like we did on the first card we made. Every other piece of whatever's sticking out, I believe it's lettuce, I did with the light granny apple green. While I have the granny apple green out, I'm going to do the inside of my avocado. And I'm still using the bullet point of my blends because it is still a small area. Use whichever side you're comfortable with. So I've got the light green on there, and then I'm also going to go ahead and do the stem of the pepper. And this will be great because it'll dry a little bit while I'm doing something else. All right, so I'm just doing a little touch up there. So now I am going to go in with the light sweet sorbet, and I'm coloring in those what I think are tomatoes sticking out. And I'm going to do those 3 little spots, and then I'm going to go in and do the pepper. And when I do the pepper, I'm going to go in right along the edge, and I'm not doing any blending. And when I do around the stem, I kind of put put the point down and pull it out so that I'm not leaving my point in that spot too long. I just want to pull it, because if you put it there, more ink will drop on your paper. Not drop, but will go on the paper. And you don't want to put too much there because you want to see the little ends of that stem over the red. All right, so that is done. So now I'm going to use Soft Suede Light Stampin' Blend, and this is for the avocado pit. You can use, if you don't have soft suede, you could use your Crumb Cake Dark. You could use, if you have another brown, whatever color. And like I said earlier, you can use your Stampin' Right markers if you don't have the Stampin' Blends. You can use whatever you want to color. So now this is the dark Granny Apple Green, and I'm just going, using the fine tip, the ballpoint end, and I'm going around the edge. This is a very thin area, so I'm doing it very lightly, and I'm going to turn the paper a couple times so that I can get the right angle and have more, what do you call that? I can't even think of the word. Control, so I can get that little area. So now all these pieces are all colored in. I think I am going back just to touch up. I see a little bit of white spot, so I'm going in to touch up my taco. All right, so now I am going to cut this out. So all three of these are going to get cut out, and I was going to cut out, you know, stamp them and cut them out ahead of time, but they really don't take that long. So I figured that I could cut them out on screen so you can see, especially the avocado. You just kind of, you know, turn your paper, turn your scissors, and whichever works for you. These paper snips, if you don't have a pair of these paper snips, we sell them. They're only like, I think, $10 or $11. And they are nice and sharp, and they're just the perfect size for working with paper because they're not too big, and they're perfect. And I bought two, and I have a ribbon on one set, and I only use that. Try to only use it. Sometimes I pick them up and start cutting with them before I realize it, but I try to only use the ribbon scissors for ribbon or twine. And the other scissors I cut through cardstock, paper, adhesive, I cut glue dots. So I like to keep one set nice and clean for ribbon. Because sometimes you don't want to cut with your ribbon scissors if they've got adhesive on them, because then it pulls you could fray your ribbon. So I like to keep them separate, and they're cheap enough. Now I'm just going back in. If I see a little bit too much white space, I just go back in and give it a little bit of a haircut, and just till I get it to the point that I like it, and then that will be done. And then I have the paper to do. I mean the pepper, not the paper. I'm going to cut out the pepper that is on the paper. So I'm getting rid of some of the bulk of the white so I can get in there and do this curve right around the curve of the pepper, and come up and go a little slow near the stem. You don't want to cut it off, and just do that little bit of white around the edge. All right, because there's no dies for this set. I wish there were, because maybe they'll come out with them. You know how we had that apple one earlier, I forget what it was called, Apple Harvest maybe, and later on they came out with dies for it. So maybe they'll come out with dies for this. Wouldn't that be cool? I would really love that, because this is easy. They're not hard to fussy cut. I don't mind fussy cutting. Now, this circle is big enough that you could, if you didn't want to fussy cut these out, you could stamp them right on this, right on the circle, and just arrange them, because there's enough room, and you could just lower your sentiment a little, and I think they'd all fit. So now I zoomed back out again so I can show you how I'm putting the card together. So this is the piece of 1x4 Sweet Sorbet, and you can take your scissors and cut like this little fringe into it, but I happen to have the fringe scissors that Stampin' Up used to sell, so I just remembered it as I was about to do this. So I left my desk and turned around and pulled out my scissors from my toolbox behind me, and these are fringe scissors, and I'll show you how they cut. They just cut a bunch of fringe at once. I think they're so cool. So you can do this by hand. You would just take your paper snips, and I'm going to go to the left of those, and you just kind of space your cuts as you go. Well, I'm going to use my scissors since I have them. So I'm just spacing it along, and I'm going to cut right up about halfway into this piece of sweet sorbet, and I turned it over so I'm right-handed, so I want to keep going to the right with these scissors. And I just cut them apart. So now I have this cool little fringe. So these scissors, finally, I'm glad I get to use them once in a while. Boy, guys, I'm going to have to take a sip of my coffee. I've been talking like this for 50 minutes. It doesn't seem that bad when you're doing the video, but this voiceover is kind of, it's weird. That's all I can say. It's weird because I'm trying to talk to what I'm doing on the screen that I'm watching this video and speaking. So now I'm going to put some seal on the back of my inside piece and adhere that on the inside of the card base, just like that. And I've creased the card with my bone folder. So now I'm going to take this piece of Designer Series paper, which is also from that Flowers and More paper. That was the Host Designer Series paper. It's like $18, but it's a double pack. It's like, I think it's like 48 sheets. And it's really fun. Now right here, I'm just realizing that my red piece is cut a little bit longer. And I want to make sure I'm putting it on the longer side of my green. So the red is going to hang off, and I'm going to just trim it. All right, so I'm just going to put it over. And so I put this down and then realized that I wanted to, afterwards I realized, after I put it down, I realized that I wanted to, I didn't want the top of my fringe cut marks to show. So now I went back and I realized that, and I said, oh geez, now I have to peel it off. But I realized that I kind of second guessed myself. I didn't know what was cut right or wrong, whether the green was right or the red. So now I've trimmed this off. And now I think that I realized that the green needs to be over more. So I'm going to see that, because right here, see how it's exactly the width of the card? I don't want that. I want a little green, granny apple green. So now I'm pulling it off carefully. So when you go to put your Designer Series paper on, make sure you cover the tops of your, I'm just going to put some more seal up, and now my seal just ran out. So now I have to replace it, and I knew that was going to happen, so I have a package available right next to me. So I am refilling it. They just pop right in. This seal, I love the adhesive, but the holder isn't the greatest to use, and a lot of people do struggle with it. But I do like the adhesive. So if you get used to it, it's a great adhesive to use. But it does take time. Now I'm moving this over more, so I'm covering up the top of my cut marks. All right. So almost half that strip. So only about a ½ inch shows. Now it fits on my card. So I have a little bit of granny apple green showing. Now don't put the adhesive on your fringe. I went right up to the edge of it, because otherwise you're going to seal your fringe down, and we don't want that, because we want to be able to lift it up. Now watch, I'm going to put this on. So there's about 1/8 of an inch of granny apple green on both left and right side of this. I push it down and get it nice and strong right there. And then I use my nail to just kind of pull up and make this fringe look more like three-dimensional. I think that's just a really cute addition to the card. All right, now I have this little skinny piece of black. It's only 1/4 inch, so my runner is too wide for it. So I am going to take a little bit of the liquid glue, and I'm just going to run a little skinny piece right along the edge of that green, just like that. And that way, the adhesive runner, that width of it won't let any overlap. So I'm going to put this on. And this is a 1/4 inch by 4 inch piece of black. Like I said, all the sizes are on the card recipes, and it's been updated. So I will, once I get this path, I'll be able to share it on the top of the recipe. So if you downloaded this earlier and you need the path, you might want to download the recipe again, or you'll be getting it in my email if you're on my email list. So I'm putting the stitch circle that I cut using the Stylish Shapes dies. This is where I realized I forgot the black dots. So I pulled in the donkey card and grabbed my take your pick tool, and I just want to throw on some of the black dots, and I'm putting 2 up in the right corner, and then I'm going to put 1 in the left corner, bottom corner. And I knew I had forgotten to do it, and I knew I pulled it out later on. All right, so now I'm going to put, I put my white stitch circle down flat, and then I am going to cut the ends again with my scissors. I'm going to make this like banner. I'm not going to try to do the lining up. I just go with the flow and see if it works. Now, I am putting this on. This is another little tip to make your sentiment stand out a little. I'm going to put a little bit of glue. I just was checking because I remembered I stamped this twice. I wanted to make sure I was doing the right side. I put a little glue on it. I'm going to pull in my silicone mat. I put the skinny black strip, which is 3/8 of an inch by 3, and I'm going to center this on the black strip, center, you know, top to bottom. So I want even amount of the black showing, and then I'm going to, and it doesn't matter if the ink gets on that silicone mat. Now I'm going to cut, and I'm sorry if I'm off the image a little bit, but I'm going to cut this at the black at an angle so it matches the angle. And I think this is a cool way. You could do the same width as your sentiment piece, but I wanted to do it a little bit skinnier to add a little bit more interest. It's just a different way of doing things. So now I want to put my twine on the back of this. So now, because the So Saffron is wide enough, I can put this, use my seal, and I took about 10 inches of this. It's Parakeet Party, but it's green, so it works well. And you can't tell that it's not the exact granny, that it's not Granny Apple Green, because it's very similar. And I'm just kind of doing, like, you know, loopies on the back of this and sticking it onto the adhesive. And sometimes I like to work from the back. Sometimes I work from the front. You know, I look at it from the front. But for this one, I just decided to do it on the back, and then I'll turn it over and see how it looks. And when I turned it over, I didn't like that little end was sticking out, so I just go back in and pull that end in and stick it back down onto the adhesive, just like that. All right, so there's my sentiment with the twine, and these are my pepper. Where's my, oh no, I lost my avocado. There it is. It was hiding. I almost picked up the one that's pasted to my sign. All right, so now I'm going to grab some dimensionals, and I am going to put dimensionals on the backs of all of these pieces. And I'm using up, I love when I use up a sheet of dimensionals, or in this case, a half a sheet of dimensionals. And so once I get all the dimensionals on these little pieces of food, right? I mean, I think this is so cute. I don't know. I love this set. If I haven't said it a million times already, it is really fun. So then I need to grab some more dimensionals because I need to put some on the back of my sentiment. And this is a really cute card. I don't know. I think these cards all came out cute, if I do say so myself. Sometimes my cards, I'm thinking, they're okay. But I really liked playing with the set. I hope you enjoy it as well. All right, so those dimensionals are on there. I'm going to make sure that I have my card turned sideways right now, and I almost put it down like that, but then I realized, wait a minute, no, I got to turn it the other way. So then I realized it, and I went, oh, geez, my card is going the wrong way. So now I didn't stick down my sentiment. I didn't peel the backing off. I just want to use it, put it in that area for placement, so I know where to put my taco, right? So the sentiment isn't stuck down yet, and I'm letting the taco hang over the edge a tiny bit. Then I'm going to put the avocado to the right of the taco, just like that. And then the pepper is going on top, and he's kind of laying on its side, just like that. All right, and then I'm going to remove the backing to the sentiment and stick that down. All right, and boy, it's an hour and 5 minutes. I've got about another 15 minutes to talk. I hope I can do this. All right, so the sentiment is down, and now we're going to put the black dots on. I put, you know, a couple in the right corner and one in the left corner, bottom corner, right down there. That's, I mean, I think I said, yeah, did I say embellishments? The matte black dots is what I'm using. So I put those on, and I do want to do some Winkostella on this. And I'm just, let's see if I am doing that. Yes, yes, I'm doing that next. So I go ahead and I'm gonna, I didn't do it on like this, I don't know what I did. I did it on the whole pepper, but I'm grabbing a piece of scrap paper again to kind of wipe off my brush just in case a little bit of red gets on there. It shouldn't happen, but sometimes it does. But it's good. You just don't want to, like, I wouldn't want to, if I had red on that brush and I went on my taco, I would get red on my taco and I wouldn't be happy. I'd have to say that I got ketchup on my taco or something. But anyway, I am putting the Wink of Stella on all these pieces of food, right? And you can always let it dry and go back and add more if it's not glittery enough for you. I don't know if glittery is a word, but I just used it. So, all right, so you probably can't see it. It never really comes out good on the video, but card number 3 is done. So we're almost done with this video. And boy, I hope this voiceover worked, because it would be horrible if I got to the very end of this and realized that this didn't work, because after talking for over an hour, I think I will, I don't know, I want to slice my wrists. No, that's horrible to say. But anyway, so on this next one, I realized that I hadn't cut the designer paper. So I pulled out some designer paper from the Country Gingham pack. It's a 6x6. So I have to cut a piece that's 4 by 5 1/4. And yes, this is the wrong piece of paper. I pulled out the first one in the pack and realized afterwards that this wasn't the right designer paper. But that's okay. I kept going with it because it really doesn't matter. And this pattern is just as cute. But you will be getting the diagonal gingham, sweet sorbet gingham. All right, so this goes on flat with adhesive. I've creased my card with my bone folder. Now I'm adding the designer paper, because this can go flat. And I'm just centering it so that we have like an 1/8 inch all the way around. That's a standard 4 by 5 1/4 inch mat. Leaves an 1/8 of an inch all the way around your card. And now this piece here is 3 by 4. This piece of white is 3 by 4. And it's going to get mounted on a piece of 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 sweet sorbet. But we're going to stamp the white first. And I've already stamped and colored most of my piece, but I'm going to show you how I did it. I'm just pulling out my silicone mat because it was closer than the Stampin' Pierce mat. And I'm going to show you how because I need a little bit of cushion. Like I said, you want to have cushion for your stamp. So I'm just going to stamp these peppers on here. I'm going off the edge. And that's okay doing it on my silicone mat, because the silicone mat is washable and all the glue will come off and any ink. So I'm just going around and I'm going to fill up this 3 by 4 piece of basic white with peppers. Now, I'm showing you how I did this just so that you know, but you don't have to waste your time watching me color the whole thing in. So here it is. I've done it all. I've colored all the peppers on here except for one, so I could show you how I colored the pepper. Now, I know I colored a pepper already, so you really didn't need to see me do it again. Oh, I'm going to do my sentiment, because I remembered I thought about there's a little pepper on here. So I'm centering this sentiment that says, "You spice up my life," and I'm centering it on a piece of 1/2 inch by 3 1/4 inch piece of basic white right in the center. And then there's this little teeny pepper, and I originally stamped it and then cut it out, but I didn't want to make you guys do that, so I'm telling you to stamp right on. It's so little, and it was a pain to really cut it out. So let's just stamp it right on this piece of white. Now the ribbon is going to go on the left side. That's why I put the sentiment straight across, and that's why I'm not putting a second piece. I'm just getting a little piece of white paper off my memento pad. So that's why I didn't stamp 2 peppers, because I'm putting my bow over there. So I've already done the inside, and I made a pepper. I colored a pepper for the inside. And I have the bow, and the bow is the white crinkle, and I'm going to show you how to color that in a minute. But for now, I'm going to take my sweet sorbet light and color this pepper, this little teeny pepper. And it's so cute. I love this little pepper. And then I am going to color my big pepper. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to put the green in first. And that's the light granny apple green for the stem of the pepper. And then just kind of do a little dot on the little pepper because there's not much to color. All right, so I've already done these peppers. I didn't do any shading on these. You can go over with the light. You don't have to go back and grab the dark, but you can go over again and make little, now see I'm pulling it out, I'm putting it down, I'm pulling it out from the green area. And I'm going to finish coloring this in. So I know you didn't want to sit there and watch me do what is, how many? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 peppers. I knew you didn't want to watch me color 11 peppers, so I only left 1. All right, so that's all done. We've stamped everything. This piece is going to go on the black, so I'm going to put adhesive on the back of it. And they're the same length, so the edges will be butt up against each other, but I'm going to center it top to bottom, so I leave about 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom. And there we go, right there. Get it lined up before I press down. And now that's all done. So now I am going to put some, get rid of that silicone mat. We don't need that. I'm putting some adhesive on the back of my pepper piece. And I'm going to mount that on the sweet sorbet. Just like so. And then I need some dimensionals on the back of this. So I'm going to put a bunch of dimensionals on the back. I'm going to put 3 up the side of each side, and then I put a couple in the middle. I don't want anything sagging. Just like that. Press them down, and I think I grab my I grab my take your pick tool because it seems to work really well to pull these off really fast. I usually only can get like 4 or 5 at once, but it's great because then they're all together and you just can, I'm just going to sweep them off and put them in the barrel that's next to me. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to pick up my card and put the peppers right down the center of this. So I'm kind of giving, make sure left to right is even and top to bottom is even. Now I'm putting some dimensionals on the on our sentiment piece. And peel off the backing, and I'm going to put that across the bottom, I don't know, about an inch above the bottom, I don't know. I don't think I measured, but I do have to kind of like make sure it's straight. And then I realized that I think my peppers piece is a little bit crooked, so I'm pulling it up. Luckily it didn't go, it wasn't pressed down too hard. So I'm going to pull that up, all but like the last dimensional, and then press it back down again and straighten it out. That's better. So now it's straight. All right, so now we have to, let's see, we have embellishments and the bow to do. So I'm going to pull in a scrap piece of paper and my silicone mat. And now you have this white bow. Now you can do this. This white crinkle ribbon is awesome. It's very light and it colors well. And you can color it with any of our markers. See, this one was my last class, the card class to go for February. I colored it with light old olive. And it's just a great way to use these alcohol markers and white ribbon. And you can do twine too. But this way, I can make this colored ribbon, any color I want, as long as I have an alcohol marker to color it with. So I'm using the cover to hold the bow down. You could use your take your pick tool or anything else, but try not to use your finger because it does stay wet for a second because it is on fabric, right? The bow is a fabric, and you might get red all over your fingers. So I try to hold it down, and I'm doing it, like I said, on the scrap paper, and I try to get everything on one side, and then I'm going to flip it over. Even though this is pretty sheer, the bow, you might have a couple spots that didn't go all the way through. Like at the top of there's a little spot that was still white, but I just touch it up a little. All right, and then I'm going to set that aside to dry because it does take a minute to dry, and it does make this crinkle ribbon a little stiffer. Now, if you are doing these cards on your own, you can color your ribbon first and then tie your bow. It's a lot easier, but I'm doing the bows for you in the kit. So if you're getting my kit, you will you will get your bow white. Now you can leave it white. White will look just as cute. But that's your decision. So I'm going to do the red part of all these peppers with the Wink of Stella and brush it off every so often just to see if any red's on there. And it's just, I just love this background. So we created our own designer series paper by using the stamp of the peppers. Just like we did those burritos slash soft tacos on the first card. So I'm just going to do, now you could do your Wink of Stella ahead of time, but I like to do it at the end because it takes a little bit longer to dry. So I'd rather not have to handle my card too much after I've done the Wink of Stella. So I leave it till almost the very end. I mean, the last thing I have to do on this is put the black dots on it and put our bow. All right, so now I'm going to wipe off the tip and go back in and get all those green stems. I just like to be a little bit precautious. Is that the word? Precautious? Just to make sure I don't bleed any ink on anything. All right, so, and then don't forget your little pepper. All right, so that's that. Now I am going to, I've left that room, that little area there, blank for the bow. So I've got to grab a glue dot and what am I looking for? I'm trying to see, what am I looking for? Maybe I'm looking for the black dots. Yes, we're going to put the black dots on first. So black dots, I just put them in some white space. It doesn't matter where you put them. I just put them in some white space just to kind of make, they're just to make the person looking at the card, make their eyes dance around your card. All right, so now I need a glue dot. The bow is pretty much dry now. So I can use a whole glue dot on this. I don't need to cut it in half because this crinkle ribbon is a little bit wider than the twine. So I put it on the back, and I think I had trouble with it sticking because it stuck to my finger, because I think the glue dot was, the center knot was a little bit, still a little damp, but I've got that on there. Let's see, and I'm going to just use my take your pick tool to kind of puff up my bow because I kind of flattened it a little when I was coloring it. And just like that. And then I'm going to take my ribbon scissors and trim the ends. Just like that. And we have our last card is all done. I do like the diagonal designer paper. I don't know how I just, grabbed the wrong piece. But anyway. Oh, and then it looks like I have the inside of the card I didn't put in yet. So I have to do the inside. So let's see. I'm just showing you there where I think this is where I realized. So I like that one better. And then I realized I have, oh, there's the inside. And I have to put the adhesive on it. And I think that I just put it right in this card. Yep. So at least this is the one that had the right designer paper. So there's our cards. So I am going to take one of each of the cards out so you can see that these are the 4 cards that you will have made during this video. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I hope my voiceover worked because I am talking about an hour and 18 minutes. And like I said, oh my gosh, if this did not work, I will die. But anyway, these are the 4 cards. If you would like the card kit, you can shop with me and use this host code that I just put on the screen I'm pointing to. It's V2A73P3X. Go to donnasingleton.stampinup.net through the 28th of the month and shop with me. Spend $35 or more on product. It does not have to be this stamp set. I have customers that just buy what they want and they get my free kit, and all they do is they use my bits and pieces. And they turn the bits and pieces and use into whatever they want with their own stamp set and ink. So you might not even make taco cards out of it. But you will get it for free. Then you can go, I'm going to update this file, make the few corrections that I have to make. And I'm going to add the video. Once I upload this video, I can grab the path and put it right underneath the title. So if you put this aside, you'll always have the path to go back to. You can find it. All right, so those are the cards. And that's it for me. So don't forget, you can go to donnascreativespace.com later on today, where I will have this updated recipe and the link to this YouTube video. And I apologize that it didn't get done yesterday. I had gone online early enough, but a few of you watched, and you probably wanted to poke your ears out because the screeching was so bad. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to download the recipe list so you know all your cutting measurements in case you're making these on your own. If you're getting them from me, everything's cut for you, except for the images that you have to stamp first. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you know when I go live again. Appreciate you watching. Take care, folks. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.